So this is going to be a little roundtable CEO panel, like Peter said. We heard from Michelle about the work of Apolum in France. So before we start, I just wanted to give Michael a moment to tell us a bit about Flextech before I asked him more specific questions about Flextech.
It should work. Great.
It should work great. Okay. Well, thank you, Leo. Good morning to everyone. I hope that you've had the opportunity to dry off a little bit, as did I, from the walk-in. But before I get into to Flextech, I did want to commend Peter and his team for a wonderful opportunity to be here and to network with our colleagues here in Canada and from elsewhere, France. Of course, a wonderful program, Peter, which you should be very proud of, you and your team, your board of directors. Flextech's history runs back over 20 years now, 2 decades. We have been a research and development consortium, first in flat panel displays, when we were known as US Display Consortium, and then in 2008, from our board of directors, including DuPont, Philips, companies like that, we were looking at flex displays pretty much before anybody else, and they really convinced us that this is really a larger market, which will be known as flexible electronics, printed electronics, and where we focus is in the area of flexible hybrid electronics. So we look at both the aspects of printed electronics from the graphics printing industry and other sources, but we're trying to introduce into that features that thin silicon can bring in terms of performance and other added features. A year and a half ago, we became part of SEMI, which is a global trade association for the semiconductor equipment industry. So we're now their FHE in-house expertise. And a little over 2 years ago, we competed for one of the Obama administration's manufacturing grants, Institutes for Manufacturing, and we're successful in that. So we've stood up a manufacturing institute in the United States known as NextFlex, whose charter is not so much R&D, but it is to take technology coming out of the printed and the flexible hybrid electronics industry and help it mature to manufacturing. It's a $75 million U.S. government investment backed up by a $90 million plus industry investment. So, Leo, I think that's kind of the background to us, and thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thank you very much. So our first question, we'll start on this side with Peter. Obviously, for all our associations, building vertical market strength is important. We're looking at where there's opportunity in specific areas for our members. I'll start with Peter. For Canada specifically, and I'll do France and the US or North American market, what do you consider to be the sectors of strength for your country and the strengths you're looking to build to create opportunity for your members?
Yeah, so thank you. I guess we're looking at, on a component level, right up from materials, Canada's very strong in materials science and very strong in creating the materials that are required for printable flexible electronics. And we have certain areas where we have strength in componentry, including sensors, which is, after inks, the largest market currently for printable flexible electronics, according to ITechX. Clearly, when we move up to the application sphere, we have 4 different areas where we focus on with our members. And if you guys have an attendee package, if you flip it over, you will see IntelliBuild, IntelliPack, IntelliWare, and IntelliPart. So those are the 4 areas, and specifically IntelliPack is aimed at smart packaging and smart retail. IntelliPart is aimed at aerospace and automotive. And IntelliBuild is, you heard yesterday, connected homes and intelligent buildings. And IntelliWare is really the wearables part, the healthcare wearables program. So that's where we believe our constituents asking us to go. This is where their strengths are. And this is where we want to stand out globally, and especially in North America, for building capabilities here.
Cool. Thank you, Peter. Michelle?
Okay, for the French market, as you have seen, so we have a lot of players, the technological players, but our market is not, we don't have the perfect contact with end users and with the final product. So the opportunity for us is is to make the collaboration and not to stay alone, because again the goal is not to redevelop what was already developed somewhere, and just to try to put everybody together to go faster and to reach the target, which is to develop the new product and the new applications. So I think we have in France, we have a very nice connection between the technological companies, but we need to have the input from the end users. This is typically, I think, the main topic on which we are working now, to increase the meetings and the workshops, to understand really the need of the end users and to help them to develop the new product, because we have the technology, but we don't have exactly the clear view and the clear need of the final, of the end users.
Thank you. Michael?
Thank you, Michel. FlexTech has always been what I call a supply chain consortium. So we focus on helping the equipment and materials and processes develop. We're a little bit different from our colleagues at Alpha Lab and CPEIA in the context that we also have an active research and development program. We have a poster, if you'd like to stop by, I can show you some of the projects we have underway. So, but we believe that at this point in time, there is good results within equipment and materials. So we're focusing our R&D program a little bit more into product demonstrators. For the US, North America generally, I think Michel did a wonderful explanation of looking at those markets, and I would not disagree with that. Medical is clearly an emphasis. I would extend that to the wearable and sports recreation market. We kind of look at that as one large universe because what's being developed there is really human performance monitoring, and that's a thrust for FlexTech with our Nano Bio Consortium. The second area that we're looking at under our Next Flex Consortium is the asset monitoring application market. And this, again, could be very broad in its nature, but it's pretty much self-explanatory. If you have an asset, you want to be able to protect that, whether it's a credit card or an airplane or a personal possession. Some stuff that might be a little bit on the edge that we want to look at under our Next Flex Consortium is things like soft robotics. So prosthetic devices typically are hard plastic. We think with the evolution of electronics, plastics, some of these can be made more, if you will, human-like, and that is a keen interest of the people who are funding us, particularly the military services.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Next question, we'll take it back to Peter. How do you see your association evolving over the next 2 or 3 years?
Well, thank you for that. For us, of course, the mandate is clear. We're still gathering our members across Canada, as well as we have companies coming to us and internationally interested in working with Canadian companies. So our interest is to grow significantly our membership base, as we have only been in business for about 2.5 years. And so that's number one. Number two is, of course, deliver value to the existing members in terms of programming, in terms of networking, evolving our supply chain. Our focus has to be really on existing members and delivering value to them, so and protect that membership base. And thirdly, we received the mandate to develop to overcome the gaps that we have in the manufacturability area. This is really a critical link where companies that develop products at the small scale, they have to change all of their products to be manufacturable in a large scale. So that's a gap that we hope to overcome in the next 2 years.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Michel, let's get.
Okay, for me it's very simple. In 3 words I can sum up. It's just to stick to the market. France it's much smaller than Canada and US, as you have seen, so we don't have any governmental support. So we need really to be close to the big companies to help them to develop the product, and because the investment, the fundings and the grants are very important in this field of application. So that's why we need to be very down to the point, stick to the market, to the demand, and to follow the big players who need the technology and to deliver them the best service and how to say the best innovation in the quickest way.
Thank you, Michael.
For us, there's really 2 imperatives. With our new parent, SEMI, SEMI has 2,000 members globally. They're the world's largest microelectronics industry trade association. So we're taking the FlexTech and the Flex name, if you will, the brand global. We now have activity in Europe, North America, and as of the end of 2016 into 2017 in Asia, utilizing the offices that we have there and the members who are interested in the space. So providing services for our members globally is our first imperative. The second is to continue investment in R&D programs like the NextFlex and the NanoBio program that we have and those particular operations, because we see a continued need for public-private cooperation in the sector.
Cool, thank you, Michael. We'll pass it back to Peter. And our last question is, how do you see each of yourselves working with other industry associations in the near and long term?
Well, I think we brought you associations here today that represent the end user market. I believe that that's a critical link for us to end users. And you heard from Jim Dunham, who is the president of the Packaging Consortium, North America's largest packaging association. You heard from Ron Zimmer, who is the president of the Continental Automated Buildings Association. So, our partnerships are towards the end users, and very similar to Affluent, we wanted to be really close to those end user markets to listen to what their needs are. Another set of affiliations are, having to reach out to the global market and having to create the sort of specialized supply chains that, other countries have strengthened and where we might play complementary roles. So Affluent, of course, Flagship Alliance is here, and you can see that their commitment to the highest level to our community is outstanding, and we hope to reciprocate the same way.
Thank you. So, again, in France, it's a little bit different from the other countries. So, in France, we have a lot of big clusters which are supported by the government. So, for us, the goal is not really to collaborate with them because they are focused on their specific activity and they are not very active and they don't stick really to the market. So, what we are looking is to have the collaboration with the international association like yours. Because to have the better understanding of the market, and today it's really the international challenge. So it's not more just the national challenge. We can stay in a small country like France. So for us, it's the opportunity we try to establish the connection with some association, because again, it's not just the goal to sign something. The goal is really to establish the partnership and to start working together again in order to develop the new project and to put the project on the market. So so you cannot manage a lot of collaboration. We try to choose the relevant collaboration on which we can bring something and on which we are also relevant as a small partner.
Okay. Thank you, Michel. Michael.
Interestingly, if there was a small logo in Michel's presentation, our company logo was in their our semi-renewal office. So we're already a member of AFLM and very admiring of what Peter has done to bring in the Builders Association and some of the other folks. We want to, he and I will meet later and we'll talk a little bit about that. FlexTech's relationships tend to be with R&D organizations. So we have discussions underway with our colleagues in Taiwan, Korea, various parts of Europe on the technical aspects of research and development programs. Indeed, we're supporting the CEA-LEDI program and part of that. So I think that's what we'll continue to pursue and try to learn from other organizations like CPEIA, how to develop the industrial relationships that I think are going to be important going forward.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Now, Mike's, you and Peter have a little news to announce this morning. Michael?
I'll let Peter.
I'll let Michael do this. It's our honor to let you take the lead on that.
As I mentioned a couple of times, Peter and I have opened up a dialogue over the last a couple of years, and about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we formalized this with a memorandum of understanding between our two organizations, between CPEIA and FlexTech, that we will cooperate in a few very distinct areas. And those include technology roadmaps, which we think are important and that need to be developed. These are really pre-competitive activities that everyone can benefit from. If anyone here has spent any time in the semiconductor industry, for example, the move to Moore's Law and the continuation of Moore's Law was driven in many respects by the semiconductor industries working together the Intels, the AMDs of the world, the Samsungs of the world, working in a pre-competitive basis to drive chip technology forward. I think that's a great model for our industry, and I think Peter and I can start talking about that and see if we can get others involved. There's a lot of discussion about industry standards. You don't, I think from a standards point of view, you don't want to get too far ahead of the market, but you also don't want to be behind. And I think that's also an opportunity for our two organizations to open a dialogue to see if we could bring in other people as well. And then the third part of the MOU just generally speaks to supporting each other's events, marketing, recruitment, these types of activities. We're delighted to have the MOU with Peter and his team. I guess it kicks off today, Leo?
Officially, yes.
Officially
Yes.
being announced today. And I expect that you'll be seeing FlexTech at the events, possibly other events throughout the year and in the years forward.
Great, thank you, Michael. Peter, do you want to add anything to that?
We're very honored by the words. Michael and his organization has done an amazing job in the U.S. and I think that we learned a lot from him and from his team, and we will continue to rely on him for his expertise and his organization's expertise and some of the areas that we believe we can build upon here with the unique capabilities that we have in Canada. And we're just really looking forward to executing on this agreement and making sure that our cross-border activities are enhancing your businesses. I mean, the goal of this alliance and the goal of this whole panel here is to enhance your business. So if we can do anything within your businesses to get you closer to an end user, to get you closer to a supplier, to get you closer to financing, to get you involved in some technical R&D projects that is collaborative, we are here to help.
Cool.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, gentlemen. That was very informative, and now we'll return to your regularly scheduled program.